I'm Bob Duncan, president of Collier Resources Company, and we're in the Big Cypress Preserve, actually standing today next to a producing oil well. Our company manages more than 800,000 acres of mineral resources in southwest Florida, owned by the Barron Collier Companies and Collier Enterprises, the descendants of Collier County's founding family. Roughly 400,000 acres of these mineral interests lie beneath the Big Cypress National Preserve and other federal areas. Today, Collier Resources managed mineral interests are generating oil and gas at several locations in eastern Collier County. The history of oil exploration and production in southwest Florida extends back some 65 years. At Collier Resources Company, our mission is to locate and develop energy resources for America's future while protecting southwest Florida's environmental heritage. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about our company and southwest Florida's oil industry. The first oil discovery in Collier County was made by the Humble Oil and Refining Company, now ExxonMobil, in 1943 on Collier Minerals at Sunnyland Field, located just south of Immokalee. Since that time, 8 southwest Florida commercial oil fields have produced more than 117 million barrels of oil from the Sunnyland oil trend that stretches from Fort Myers to the southeast corner of Collier County. At its peak in 1977, more than 14,000 barrels of oil were being produced each day. Humble discovered and began oil production in the 1970s at 2 fields, Bear Island and Raccoon Point, located in what is today the Big Cypress National Preserve. In 1993, Exxon sold its interest in southwest Florida. Today, Brightburn, Florida, continues to produce oil from 5 fields within the Sunnyland oil trend, both inside and outside of the preserve. Oil and gas activities have coexisted a long time with southwest Florida's unique environment. Tomorrow's oil production will incorporate huge technological advances that will further minimize environmental impacts. As longtime landowners who work and live in this community, the company is strongly committed to creating an overall net benefit for the environment. In fact, the Big Cypress National Preserve was created through acquisition of Collier lands. So as we move forward with our plans, Collier Resources is working on 2 important environmental measures. First, the company will underwrite an independent assessment of proposed best management practices for conducting future exploration and production activities. This review will be conducted under the direction of the well-respected Everglades Foundation, which will select and manage a panel of scientists to issue a report and recommend improvements if warranted. Secondly, Collier Resources has proposed to establish a conservation fund created from a royalty on new oil production discovered within the preserve. The fund has the potential to generate hundreds of millions of dollars for the restoration and maintenance of critical ecosystems in South Florida. Exploration for oil in the Sunnyland Trend will be undertaken by Collier Resources and its partner, Lake Cornell Oil Company of Tyler, Texas, using the most technologically advanced and least intrusive methods available in the industry today. A 3D seismic survey of a 46,100 acre area of investigation known as Noble's Grade that is located between 2 producing oil fields within the Big Cypress National Preserve. The 3D seismic survey searches for oil and gas at great depths with a minimal surface impact. The process uses a carefully designed grid of small charges and passive geophone receivers to produce and record sonic waves that search for and map the presence of geological hills located more than 2 miles underground. similar to the hills or oil fields that have produced over 117 million barrels of oil in the Sunnyland Trend. To produce this underground map, a sonic placement rig produces a high-frequency vibration and sinks a small diameter casing in which a small charge is placed at a 50-foot depth. After the casing is withdrawn, the seismic charge is sealed off from the surface and the soil left in its original condition. Later, the charges are individually detonated and an acoustical signal is generated. After traveling downward and reflecting off various underground layers, the acoustical signals provide a highly accurate three-dimensional map of underground structures, confirming the presence of potential new oil fields and identifying specific targets for new drilling, much like an MRI produces a map of the human body for medical purposes. The impact of the seismic survey process is expected to be minimal. Collier Resources has designed a survey that utilizes existing roads and trails for charge locations, incorporates charge placement equipment that produces no hole cuttings, and specifies on-foot surveying and placement and retrieval techniques for geophone receivers. In total, approximately 8 acres of the 46,100-acre survey area, or less than 0.02%, will be disturbed, mostly from the trimming of brush, which quickly grows back. No residual effects are expected once testing is completed. Since the surface of the Big Cypress National Preserve is federally owned, the 3D seismic survey will conform to a comprehensive list of operational rules and conditions set out by the National Park Service and the preserve's mineral management plan, including the continual use of third-party observers for rule compliance.
As a state observer, their job was to actually occupy the location with the drillers as they drill a hole. They witness the size charges being loaded in the hole, the depth of the charge, make sure environmental concerns are met, and ensure that each charge is detonated. So there's a documented proof that the charges were detonated, goes in a log, and it's in state records.
Other required regulatory approvals will be secured from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the state of Florida's Department of Environmental Protection. Assuming that the 3D seismic survey shows areas of promise, permits to drill test wells during the following dry season will be requested. If test wells confirm oil potential, permits will be requested for field development during the following year. Production of oil would follow for an estimated 12 to 15 years. Today's drilling and production technologies allow dramatic reduction in surface impact. The highly accurate projections of 3D seismic surveys identify the size and orientation of prospective fields and enable more precise placement of test and development wells. Horizontal well drilling techniques reduce the number of wells and well pads. High-capacity pumps accelerate production and shorten field lives and surface occupancy. Oil and gas exploration and producing activities temporarily impact only a very small amount of surface land. For example, if Collier Resources seismic survey results in the discovery of 2 new oil fields within the Nobles Grade seismic survey area, well testing, field development, and production activities would require an estimated temporary land use of only 100 to 160 acres. This amount totals approximately 0.02% of the preserve's 740,000-acre surface area. When production activities have concluded, the temporary impacts will be reversed and the area will be left in essentially the same condition as it was found.